Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vimoh Live. This is a podcast slash live stream that happens every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. and every Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Today is Saturday, October 29, 2022. Welcome. We usually talk about religion, atheism, culture, politics, but mostly religion and atheism. It's a call-in thing, so people can call in. There is a link pinned to the top of the chat using which you can come on the live stream and talk to me face to face. If you want to keep your webcam off, that's also okay, as long as you don't, engage in behavior that is questionable. I would also request everyone who's joining on the screen live right now, go to the private chat and type a couple of sentences about what you want to talk about. It helps me prioritize calls. And I want to prioritize people with whom I have disagreements because that is the main purpose of this. So go to the private chat and write a couple of lines about, uh, you know, what is it that you wish to discuss, and we'll see. If you are listening to this as audio at a later point of time, you're doing so through either Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Ghana.com, etc. If you're doing that, first of all, thank you. But also, if possible, leave a rating or a review for the show because that helps more people find the podcast. Spotify has a 5-star rating system. Give it 5 stars or 4 stars at least. Apple Podcast has a review system. So write a review. A very short review will do, but it helps. So with all that out of the way, I'll just remind everyone that the channel is monetized. You can simply click on the join button and become a member of the channel. A lot of people joined last week, so I'm thankful for it. I'm a full-time content creator, and this live stream is sponsored by people like you. So if you want to support me, you can do so by clicking the join button below and becoming a member. And there are other ways of supporting the show also, which I'll get to in due course of time. Let me read. Yes, people who are in the queue, please wait for a little while. Let me talk. Let me take a look at some of the chats. um, okay, let me take a look at. Asha says, I am an atheist and my parents force me to worship God. How should I go about this? How should you go about what? Worshipping God? I think if you're an adult, you can do what you want. And worship is. Are you actually asking what to do about the fact that your parents force you to go through rituals? If your life is going to be significantly impacted by not doing what your parents say, and you're not financially independent, I would suggest going through it because it doesn't actually do much harm. If you are an adult and if you can say no emphatically and your life does not get affected by it, go ahead and do so. Go ahead and say that I'm not interested in this. Beside that, I cannot give any specific advice because I don't know your parents. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with your parents, and I don't want to get into family disputes. So if you are able to say no, if you're unable to say no, maybe continue humoring them until you are able to say no. That's all I can say. Arun says, Vimo, what do you think about the supposed unfair advantage of trans women in sports? Personally, I feel that even if it is there, we should critique the system instead of screaming at women. Again, sports is an area about which I don't know. I don't even know the nature of the disagreement that people have here. I will need to read more about it, and when I do, we will talk. Puneet says, okay, Puneet has sent a poem of some sort, I suppose. But yeah, let me take a look at the private chat. Right, people, everyone who has joined, please go into the private chat tab on the right side and type a couple of lines about what you want to talk about. And this would help me prioritize calls and understand where you're coming from. And if someone is more interesting, prioritize them. But before I go, Abir, you have already pasted it 3 times. I can see it. It's okay. Calm down. Well, I'll get to you. Let me take on Raja. Hold on. Raja is the first caller. Hi, Raja.
Hey, Vimoh.
Hey,
So, I like to share my experience. Recently, I had my family members and the relatives. Um, so
if there
this
is there any kind of trigger warning you would like to give before you share?
no, nothing like
Okay,
that. It
cool.
was
Go
a
ahead.
general, uh, general debate or a small fight with my
Okay,
brother.
cool.
So, I mean, before that, I just want to generalize my point of view. Then I will go to the example whatever happened in my
Hmm.
family. So, my generalized view is, see, we are right now. There's a era, right? A modern era and a postmodern and a era and a pre-modern era.
Hmm.
So, all our culture, the religion, the mythology. not only specific to Hinduism, but any religion. Everything is created in a postmodern era. In the
Hmm.
modern era, somehow nothing happened. There's no, no magic happened, right? Because after the modern era, people kind of question everything. That question is something very implicit. When it is become a very magic, something has happened. Obviously, we question, hey, this is really happened. How it is possible? So many things, right? Even a religious person themselves happen. That is what the modern era impact, right?
Okay.
And for example, today, like who's the guy? Our Nityananda, he said that, hey, I stopped the sunrise for several minutes, right? There's a
Yeah, he said this today or sometime before?
sometime before, but no one
Ah,
believed it.
yeah,
It
yeah.
would have been a pre-modern era. Certainly, many people would have believed it, right? So,
People still believe it. A lot of people still believe it. That's why he has followers.
obviously, but even look at this: the population of believers, and
Hmm.
who in that population of believers, how much believe that guy, which is kind of
Okay.
very very
I got
small,
your point. I got your point.
because
What
people know
happened?
what is this, what is the science about it is not possible. Everything people rationally think, and
Yeah.
after that we are in a postmodern era. So
Okay.
postmodern era means we are not able to throw away all our pre-modern philosophy, mythology, everything.
Hmm.
And in this postmodern era, we're trying to find out a meaning for this mythology. Even though we couldn't accept everything as it is, we are thinking, hey, these kind of rituals, belief, uh, everything is being followed for thousands of years. So
Hmm.
it should have some meaning in it, or it should
Yeah.
have some
So,
scientific
yeah.
reason in it.
I got your
Right?
point. Do you have a question?
I don't have a question. I just want to tell. I just want to tell what happened in my recently, right? So
Okay.
the solar eclipse happened,
Yeah.
and I had this question: why we should not go out in
Hmm.
this solar eclipse? There's a lot of pseudoscience rolling out in this things, right? So if
Hmm.
you go to the is the pseudoscience is if you go to the origin of the pseudoscience, not only the solar
Hmm.
eclipse, but a lot of things. If you look at the only thing is, ancestors are not idiots. They are doing it for some scientific reason in it. We don't
Yeah.
understand the scientific reason, but
This is
there's a
the
scientific.
argument people give.
That's the argument
Yeah.
people give. So every customs or every ritual, they are trying to justify with this some sort of pseudoscience argument. If you open
Hmm.
internet, if you open YouTube,
I think the reason that
you can
happens
see.
is the reason. See, I'll just sorry to interrupt you, but I think the reason that happens is uh, saying that someone must have had a reason is a good justification only to a certain extent. When it comes to our understanding of the universe, the things that we have discovered and are able to verify is kind of, it's like, unless I know the reason, how can I
Mm.
say if it is a good reason or a bad reason? And when people do give the reason, it turns out to be a terrible reason. So
No,
this is
no.
not so much about modern thinking or postmodern thinking. This is simply about, like, I'm happy to accept the reasoning people provide for not going out during a solar eclipse, as long as it makes scientific sense. If it doesn't, then why would anyone accept it?
It is not just to stop there, right? So they're giving a lot of reasons, because it is not something that doesn't have the reason. That, see, nobody will follow anything without the reason. Okay, and there was a reason, and right now we are not in a position to accept the reason. And
What was the
it
reason in
has,
your opinion?
for example, if you look at the solar eclipse, right? Why we
Hmm.
should not go out? The
Hmm.
simple reason would be is it is a war happening between the sun god and the Ragu and Ketu.
Yeah, but that's not a reason, is it?
That's the reason what people believed for so many years.
It's a
That is the
belief.
reason
It's
why.
a
Yeah,
belief, and that
I'm
belief can
I'm
be a reason
I'm
for something. But do you think it's a good reason?
no, forget about what a good reason for some time. Let me first tell me what I'm thinking. Okay, so
Okay.
that is the reason why this kind of custom is created, right? why we should not eat, why we should fast, and why we should wash our clothes and our home after the solar eclipse. That is because something bad happened in this cosmology, in this Hindu cosmology,
Hmm.
and because of that, many bad things are spread across the earth. So we need to clean it up. So that is the reason what people believed. Okay,
Hmm.
it is good
Hmm.
or bad. That is a context from where we suggest. Why thousands of years before. That reason is valid because no one will knows what it is, what the sun is, what is
No,
why it
it
is
was a
happening.
bad reason even then. I don't you think? Because if something bad does not happen as a solar eclipse, as a
Mhm.
result of the solar eclipse, but people believe that something bad will happen as a result of the solar eclipse, are they right? That is all I'm concerned with, really.
No, whether they right or not, imagine how much knowledge they have. Within the knowledge only you can think, right?
That
See,
is true. That is true. Which
even
is why
even a
I,
bad.
right
See,
now, you and I, right now, in the 21st century, are able to come to more accurate conclusions about reality based on our knowledge, and
correct.
we are able to accurately describe their view as flawed.
There is nothing wrong in describe their view as a flawed, but that is the reason which has been carried forward until we know something about our modern understanding, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So what happened is, if you go and ask any people who is doing this ritual, right,
Hmm.
doing a solar eclipse, they will not tell that reason, what the real reason, right? Why this is all created, right?
Hmm.
Why this all created because of people believed in these kind of stories. But what people will tell is, they will tell about the pseudoscientific reason, like, when
Yeah.
you go out, there's a harmful rays are coming from the sun,
Hmm.
and that will cause so many bad things to your body, so you should not go out. One and ancestor knew this long, long, long before. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
the radiation.
So I think
Yes.
this is not a conclusion that they have found; it's more a justification. So because in this day we use science to judge reality, they find that they cannot justify what they believe without appealing to
Correct.
science.
Correct.
So they come
That's
up
my
with
point.
some pseudoscientific
Some
explanation for it.
pseudoscience. That's
Yeah,
my point. So
yeah.
what happened is that early justification completely lost. That is the uh, that is it is that's why my whole topic is, we should teach this social anthropology in the school itself. We should tell the it is it's a stream of history, right? We
Hmm.
should think, we should tell the people how our ancestors were thinking.
Hmm.
What are the things they were
Yeah,
thought about,
yeah,
and
yeah.
what is that point of psychology, and the knowledge, and all those
I
things
think
we
to
need
a
to
certain
do.
extent, this information is conveyed in schools, right? Like we did not know something, now we know something, and when we did not know something, this is what we used to think.
That is not like conveyed
It's
in
not
that way.
sophisticated, but when
Because
you're a child and you're in primary school, this is the best.
primary school is mostly like information, right? It's not really
I see.
uh,
My point is that I don't know how much of social anthropology in its most sophisticated form can be conveyed to really young children. But I suppose school does. I don't know what school does these days. It's all fucked up beyond recognition for me. But I think school does adequate job in exposing children to a number of views, so that when they get to college, they can choose to specialize in a certain field. But I agree with you. This
I'll tell you
social
one
anthropological view of human history should be taught at a younger age. Yeah.
correct. I will tell you one simple example. This the
Raja, I have to
surprise
move
you.
on to the next caller. We don't have that much time. Is that
Okay.
okay? Do you have to
uh,
make one last point? Make it. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. Can you give me some minutes? I want to share my screen. In fact,
No, no, no. I
maybe
can't
our
share
callers
screens.
also.
I can't share screens. Sorry.
Oh, no, no. You won't allow to share me screen?
No,
Share
I
my
can't.
screen?
No, no.
Oh,
Because it's a podcast, right? Everything
mm,
I do, I need to be able to make in a format that will make sense as pure audio. And also, I don't know what you're going to share, and I might have
mm.
to cut it, and I don't want to take that risk. So I have a policy that I don't share
Okay, okay.
screens.
I will let me convey
You can just
using.
mail it to me. You can just mail it to me if you have a point to make, and we can talk about it the
Okay,
next time you're
okay,
here.
okay. So I will make my point quickly without sharing my screen. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
this Varaga avatar?
Yes.
If you look at the Varaga avatar, you just Google
Mm.
it. You will see a pig,
A boar.
which is called a boar. Yeah, it's correct.
Mm.
Term is boar, which will carry a globe
Yes.
in its horn, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a interpretation. When you see this, Google it. That's what you will get it.
Mm.
And if you go on to buy some Varaha avatar god picture, that is
Yeah.
what you will get. But that is a very modern. That's a very postmodern. In fact, they combine this modern and the pre-modern idea, and they bring this idea. If you go to any temple, you
Mm.
will don't see this globe.
Okay.
Instead, you see a lady.
You see
Instead,
a.
you see a goddess
Oh yeah, Dhara. Yeah. Yeah. You
uh,
see Dhara. Yeah.
sitting on the shoulder of this
God.
god.
Hmm.
The goddess is the
Do you think it's
Bhuma.
because the original myth had the woman in it, or do you think it's because
The original is
the
woman.
globe model was not available
Globe
back then?
model is new.
Yeah,
Globe
yeah,
model,
yeah,
people nobody know the what is the shape of the planet, right? People were thinking about planet as a Bhuma Devi. That is the what people thought of it.
Hmm.
That is a very good idea. We need to tell the people. We
Yeah.
are we once we are thinking this Earth is a human, you're a living thing, right?
Hmm.
And in this postmodern after this postmodern era, we completely destroy that. We destroy that philosophy,
Hmm.
right? That is very, I feel that is very, very bad. Even though I'm atheist,
Hmm.
it show me that, okay, God is the God, and Bhuma Devi is lovers. God is a husband and Bhuma Devi is
Yeah, there are
a
some
wife.
myths, but the
That,
nature of the Hindu mythological multiverse is that it's not really as consistent as the MCU. So you
that,
can
that
have multiple theories explaining multiple, a single fact, or a single uh, point in the story can have multiple origin points.
that is true, but that this is the same story everywhere in many cultures. If you go
Hmm.
to Pacific Islanders religions, right? That's
Hmm.
also, you can see this. They will show they will see the earth as a goddess, and the sun is the god.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
are both
The love,
husband
the love
and wife.
between the sun and the moon, or the sun and
And
the earth, and yeah,
correct,
yeah.
correct. So that
I've
is
noticed this. Yeah,
the ocean, right?
yeah.
So now,
So
we and,
Raja, I have to move out to the next call. Your last point was
uh,
made, right?
yeah, correct. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you. You're most welcome to return next week. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Chalo.
you.
Thank you. That was Raja. I'll just thank Bond for the $15 super chat. Thanks, Bond. He says, they say how to look at Russia Ukraine war rationally. How to look at a war rationally? I think wars are fought over land, and this war is being fought over land. Putin is a jackass. And fortunately, India has had very old, good relationships with Russia. Unfortunately, I would like to see this as our relationship with the people of Russia instead of the man who's ruling Russia at present. I think plenty of people in Russia are also pissed off at him. And I think the sooner this war gets over, the better. And of course, our support should also be with Ukraine. We should not support Russia in the war, but we should support the people of Russia, and we should support the people of Ukraine in their opposition to this war. That's what I think. Um, uh, hmm. Hold on. Let's see. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Abir is really impatient. Let's take Abir. Hi, Abir.
Hi,
Hi.
I am an ex-Hindu. Wait, I'm just
I
stuttering.
can hear you.
I'm
I
an
can hear you.
ex-Hindu.
Go on.
Yeah. So my question is that I have recently been researching Hinduism, and
Hmm.
I have found that many Hindu gods were rapists. But even though many people know that, they still justify worshipping them. What's
Hmm.
your view on that? That's my first
Views
question.
that most people see. There is a difference between the what the mythological texts say about the gods and how people see those gods. So if you ask a normal person who believes in these stories, they will say that no, they didn't do it, and they will say it without even studying those things, right?
Yeah,
As
yeah.
far as sexual
Mm,
assault is concerned, you will find that gods of the Greek pantheon, gods of the Roman pantheon, gods of the Norse pantheon are all guilty of several crimes, if not one.
yes.
It was quite so. Basically, these are stories. These are fictional characters about whose lives stories have been written. And I don't see any reason to debunk all this, because what am I proving by saying that these gods were bad? Because it's not going to change people's
Yeah,
minds who worship these gods, right?
yeah.
People are going to believe
I
these
see
gods
that.
are good, even if I manage to convince them that they did these things. So I choose to focus
Yes,
my conversations about religion on what people actually believe, because a lot of people don't actually believe the things that are in the mythological stories. So when I talk to someone, I simply say, tell me what you believe, and we will talk about that. Nobody will ever come and say, I believe in falana god because that god was a rapist, right? So I don't even go there.
yes. So I have another question. So
Hmm.
my second question is that there is a multiverse theory, like some multiverse in Hinduism. So
Hmm.
does that prove Hinduism is true, but or it doesn't?
We don't even know what the multiverse theory proposed by certain scientists is true. It's almost completely theoretical, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So how would a theory in a religion having something in similar with a theory in science, which is a different kind of theory, by the way, prove the religion? There are even scientists who say
oh,
that the multiverse is actually multiple patches of space-time within this universe. So
yes, yes,
unless this Hindu idea of many worlds can be reconciled with something tangible mathematically, as far as physics is concerned, I mean cutting edge physics is concerned, I don't see any reason to take it seriously. You can find any number of stories in any religious text and say, hey, this is like that, this is like that. It doesn't mean anything unless it actually has predictive value of some sort.
yes. So my third question is gonna be kind of personal. So I
abir
live in Bangladesh.
abir in the
Yes,
private chat you had one question. This is your third question now. Okay, make this your last one.
yeah. So I live in Bangladesh and I'm an
Hmm.
ex-Hindu atheist and I'm
Hmm.
an 16-year-old a teenager.
I
So
don't need data.
I'm
I
getting
don't need your private information.
yeah.
Don't give
So
personal information online. Yeah.
yes, yes. I'm getting kind the hate is starting to get in. So
Hmm.
how am I gonna deal with the hate I'm getting for being an atheist?
Abir, I think you should consult people who have access to resources where you live. I can give you plenty of advice, but it will be advice from an Indian guy, right? I cannot help you there.
Yes,
If there are other atheists around you, if there are atheist groups in Bangladesh, you should get in touch with them, talk to them about where you live. I mean, be careful about sharing personal information online. I mean, you say that you are getting threats and stuff, but you're still happily telling your age and data on a public live stream. Don't do that. Be careful with your
so
personal information, and
that's
talk to people
foolishness.
who are in a talk to people who are in a condition similar to yours, not random strangers on the internet.
Oh, one thing. And should I buy the book, The Hindus and Alternate History, for information about Hinduism by
By Wendy
Wendy
Donegan.
Dongler?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Knowledge.
yeah.
Is it authentic or is
I
it
don't know. I haven't
correct?
read it. I have not read it, but I have heard good things about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time,
Thank you. Abhi. Thank you.
Vimoh. Thank
Take
you.
care. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. I'll
Mm. Next is Samuel. Hi.
Hey, Vimoh, first time caller. I'm calling from the United States.
Hello.
Hi, good to be live with you. Just a 30-second introduction about myself. I used to be an ex evangelical Christian, dabbled into Advaita, Vedanta, Zen Buddhism, and all that, and now firmly in the scientific corner, so to speak.
Okay.
I have two questions actually.
Sure.
One is how can you explain the survival of religion? Although religion hasn't been around for a long, long time, considering the history of humanity,
Yeah.
but can you explain its survival in terms of the evolutionary principles of naturally being selected by a lot of people and so on and so forth? Do you get my question?
Hmm. I have kind of talked about this for a couple of on a couple of occasions. But before I answer that, I will also like to point out that why are we obsessed with this question? We ourselves had not existed for a really long time. If you take the full extent of time that the dinosaurs existed on Earth, it is several times what we have had. So
Okay.
this is like a guy working a job for 15 years and then dying,
Hmm.
and then a new guy comes and after 1 week at the job he'll say, how do I explain my continued presence at this job, right? And we're kind of full of ourselves right now.
Yeah,
we're
that's
we're barely here, we have barely done anything with our existence.
right,
And
right.
within that, a
Hmm.
very short period of time religion has existed. So I think
Exactly.
this question is actually a lot less fascinating than we think it is.
Okay.
Having said that,
Hmm.
I have talked about something called hyperactive agent detection, which means that evolutionarily there got a kind of programming into the human brain which caused us to imagine agents around us. Because when we were imagining agents around us, we got careful, we got afraid of them, and that
Right.
fear served a purpose. It served to protect us from actual dangers. So if you're
Hmm.
going through a forest and you're afraid that there are ghosts out there, you're constantly looking around, you will not find ghosts, but you will find maybe a snake hanging from a tree, which you will
Right.
not go around. So it had some utility. This
Hmm.
tendency got built on top of, on top of, on top of, and religion took form. And in later years, like during civilized times, religion has largely survived because the religious people associated themselves with power. So they got associated with kings. So like Christianity did in Rome, uh, Hinduism is doing in India right now, and
Right.
Islam has done in the Middle East for a long time. So
Right.
religion in modern times has survived because it attached itself to powerful quarters, and before that there was a certain evolutionary basis to it, is what
Okay.
I think.
And also, the reason why I specifically asked this question is coming from my Christian background, and specifically, it's a Pentecostal charismatic background. I'm not sure if
Mm,
you're aware of that,
okay.
but this stream of Christianity is the most popular, and it's advancing in several parts of the world right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, just curious, like, what is it that people are attracted to, and like they're selecting this, in terms of the evolutionary language of this
Yeah.
religion. So that was my curiosity, yeah, about this.
I think the an inescapable fact about the human condition is that we are shit scared because we don't
Mhm.
have one fucking clue. And
Okay.
when someone comes along and says, I know, we're like, oh, he knows, yay, and we go to them. And the more a person is able to pretend that they know and they're
Mhm.
extremely confident in what they know, the more people will flock to them.
Of course.
This unfortunately has been figured out by many charlatans throughout history,
Mm,
and they have made use of it in order
I
to
see.
become what you describe as charismatic leader.
Right, right. Okay. And my second and last question is, so when I talk to, like, for example, members in my family, we've left the fundamentalist religion, to so to
Mhm.
speak, but some people still hold on to, we're spiritual but not religious kind of thing. And the things that they use to explain or hold on to that spiritual part of it is that things like synchronicity, like, okay, you're thinking about somebody and all of a sudden they call you,
Yeah.
or you're thinking about a song, maybe a devotional song, and you turn on the radio and that's the song that's playing. Hey, listen, there may not be a god, but there is something spiritual out there,
Some
that's
kind
what.
of order in the universe. Yeah.
Yes,
We're
yes.
pattern seeking animals, right?
Okay.
I think that best explains it. We pattern seeking animals. We
Uh-huh.
are looking for a certain something, and whenever something by chance happens that way, we remember it. But we forget all the times that it did not happen. There are so
Never
many
happened.
times when you're thinking about someone and they don't call.
It
And
doesn't
if you
happen.
made a list of all the occasions when you thought about someone and they did not call, and then there will be one thing at the bottom where they did call, you'll be like, aha, look at this one
There
thing
it
at the
is.
bottom, which makes perfect sense to me. We are seeking patterns and we are finding them. I
And
think
it's
that's the
pure
best
pure
explanation.
coincidence. It's just pure coincidence that
Yeah,
happened.
and coincidence also is a very weird thing. Coincidence is like, suppose you're wearing a red t-shirt, right? Suppose I was wearing something red and you
Hmm.
came out of nowhere to wear red. The fact that two people are wearing red shirts is not mind blowing. The
Okay.
fact that the fact that you came on my show and I was wearing red is what makes it coincidence, right? So
Hmm.
coincidence exists because of our perspective. The
I
thing
see.
itself is not coincidental, it's completely meaningless. We
Hmm.
are the ones looking at it and describing it and seeing it and finding a pattern.
I see. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Well, nice talking to you. Thank you, Vimo, for taking the call.
Thanks, Samuel. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Samuel. I have four people right now. Again, I'll remind everyone that this channel is sponsored by people like you. You can support this channel by clicking the join button below and becoming a member. You can also support this channel by becoming a member on Patreon. And if you go to patreon.com/Vimo, you can become a monthly or an annual member and you'll be supporting my work, this live stream, this podcast, my reels, my writings, everything. If you don't want to commit to a monthly schedule, you can simply go to my blog at vimo.stck.me and click the support button and make a one time contribution. If you do that, you don't have to go through any monthly scheme. It's just a one time thing. Choose any amount of your choice and make a contribution. And if you want to buy merch, you can do so at kadakmerch.com/vimolive. There are t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs. One of the t-shirts says Sabka Malik fake hai, and that's the highest selling one. So if you want to buy that, be my guest. Also, you can support me directly by sending money to Vimo at UPI. And having said that, let us move on to the next caller, which is Luffy. Hi, Luffy. What's with
Hello,
so many
Vimo.
anime
Hello.
characters? Every week there is an anime character. Hi.
I guess anime is becoming very popular in India.
Yeah, I suppose it always has been. But go on.
Yeah, so basically, I guess already in private chat I have written. I wanted to know your opinion on what the younger generation will be, because I let me say you, I am 16 years old. So,
Why do
like,
people keep telling me their age? Yeah.
no, it's just some extra information. Okay, that's not required.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like, you have, I guess you are in your late 30s, right? I can say you're in your
I'm
late
about to
30s.
turn 40 actually.
Yeah. So what is your hope on the younger generations, that how will they turn to be like? A lot of thing we see that a lot of young people are becoming more aware about things, and probably homophobia is such
Mm.
a thing that nowadays young people. But also we have seen, I guess I have seen, I don't know, maybe you will be able to say better, that a lot of people have openly even hated this trans people.
Mm, mm.
So yeah, so don't you think it has both the side, it has like increased number, like the people who openly used to hate trans also have increased, and at the same time people who have
Yeah.
who so
Yeah.
like, do you think that will there be a resolve in future, or will it be the same, like it will always be there?
So here's the thing. It generally tends to be the case that acceptance becomes normal over time. So right now you will have transphobes and people who are not transphobes, but you will have very few people who are openly racist, right?
Yes.
So there was a time when someone like you might have come on a show and asked, "Do you think we will see a people like you would have said that we have some people who are racist and we have some people who are not racist? Do you think things will get better? Have things gotten better since then? I don't know. Racism still exists. Plenty of people are still racist, but people have this general awareness that being racist is bad. And even right wingers in America, evangelical Christians, etc., instead of saying that we are racists, they will say things like racism doesn't exist. Racism has ended ever since the abolition of slavery. So they will pretend as if the problem does not exist instead of saying that, yeah, the problem exists and I want to be part of it. So transphobia, I think, may run the same course, but we also need to be aware of the fact that the internet was not a thing 100 years ago. And a
Yeah.
lot of things about our cultural discourse have fundamentally changed as a result of the internet. Whether the internet remains like this, whether it continues to algorithmically enhance a certain narrative or devalue a certain narrative, whether it becomes completely in control of corporates and who do the bidding of their political masters, that is another factor. Whether the internet becomes more open and all sorts of views find equal access to people's minds, that's also a factor. But even if the internet is not to be taken into the equation, which I don't think we can honestly do, I do think that things will get better over time.
Okay. Yeah. And another thing is, a lot of people actually, Vimo, I have to leave now.
Okay, yeah,
My
I
parents,
hear
my
I
parents
hear
were
the
not
bell.
at home, and I was
Cool, cool, cool.
joining it.
No
So
issues.
next
Join
time I'll
next
join
time.
Wednesday or Saturday. Yeah.
Chalo.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very
Bye
much,
bye.
Vimo, for.
That was Luffy, who suddenly had a doorbell ring. Hmm. Harsh is a new member. Hi, Harsh. Thank you for joining. Wait, Harsh, didn't Harsh become a member last time? No, or is this a renewal? I don't know. But thank you, Harsh, anyway, for joining. Uh, Sai Kalyan is the next person. Hi, Sai. Okay, Sai has disappeared. Uh, Aputa. Hi, Aputa.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I kind of figured that out from the fact that you were humming Star Wars theme a
I hum
few
the Star Wars
minutes
theme
ago.
all the time.
Yeah,
It's
right. So I just had a few things to discuss about veganism, and maybe if we have the time, we can discuss some theology.
sure.
Uh, Basically, I just wanted to ask you if you have been introduced and have seriously grappled with the idea of veganism.
I have, and I have been
Mm-hmm.
speaking to. I have spoken to several vegans in the last year, and
Mm-hmm.
my condition right now is what it was last year. I'm not consuming meat anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I have come down to consuming eggs and consuming cheese and milk products,
Mm-hmm.
and that is all I consume by way of animal products. I don't know if I will ever become a full vegan,
Mm-hmm.
but that is how things are.
Okay, yeah, I mean I do appreciate the fact that you have made some strides in that direction, right? But I do want to ask you that suppose if the same things that were happening in say the dairy industry or the egg industry where animals were being forcibly impregnated and exploited, if that was being done to humans, presumably you wouldn't pay for that and support it, right?
I don't eat humans, and I don't
No,
need to
that,
pay and support it. See, the thing is this: dietary
well, that's
concerns
not
in
what I asked
India.
you, right? I asked you if that was the case with humans, would you
What
support
would be the reason for me to support it?
for the same reasons that you support eggs and
The
dairy and
reason
meat?
the reason I
Yeah.
support eggs and dairy is because I eat it. I don't eat people. That's what I told
Yeah.
you.
So suppose if that was the case, right?
If I eat people,
Hypothetically. Yeah,
if I eat people,
hypothetically.
okay.
Yeah. Would you take it to be a good thing or not a bad thing to pay for the industry?
If it was impossible for me to survive without eating people,
Hmm.
maybe.
Okay. So if well, that is not the case that you are living in right now, right? So
No, I'm not. No,
uh,
I'm not. I'm
yeah.
not.
So
But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
no, that's not. No, no. The thing is,
Here's the
you're
thing.
not
Here's
in
the
living
thing,
in a state
Aputa.
where.
Here
Mhm.
is the thing. Listen,
Yeah.
dietary concerns, in my opinion, are a
Hmm.
personal choice.
Yeah, but
We
if the
live in a
victims were
country.
humans, we wouldn't
We
take
live
that to
in a
be a personal
country. The
choice.
victims are not humans. The
I
victims are
know
not
that,
humans, and
but
I'm
if
trying to
they
make a
were.
point.
Hmm.
If so counterfactuals के करके तुम बहुत कुछ prove or disprove कर सकते हो. It doesn't mean really much.
No, that's
What
not
I'm
what I'm
saying,
attempting.
what what I'm saying is that in India, I respect where you're coming from, and I appreciate. I do think veganism is a morally virtuous choice, and I am trying to move towards it. My
Hmm.
point is that in India, dietary concerns tend to be a political decision, and I don't want to use my platform to encourage people to judge people on the basis of what they eat, because in the last couple of years we have seen people being killed because they were suspected of having meat in their refrigerators, right? There are
Well,
people
that
who are
is
suspected
compatible
of
with.
there are people who are suspected of smuggling cattle, and they're murdered because of it. There are many things that have happened. There is a discrimination against tribal population who have an inherently meat based diet and have had that for thousands of years now. So I don't want to get into the food conversation. As far as my personal eating habits are concerned, I already told you what my position is, and I would appreciate it if that was the end of this conversation. Do you want to talk about your theology point?
Well, I just want clarity on the thing that if the victims were humans, right, you wouldn't do it. But since the victims are animals, you are okay with doing it. So I'm looking for a symmetry breaker between those things.
I told you already.
And the symmetry
The
breaker
reason I
is.
would not the reason I would not do it if it was humans is because I do not consume humans.
Well, that's just begging the question, right? I'm like, I understand you don't consume humans. I'm asking you
How is
for,
it begging the question? How is it begging the
yeah,
question?
you're like, it's just like, what you're saying
Do
is,
you
I
know
don't
what
consume.
begging the question means?
Yeah,
Explain
of
to me
course.
what begging the question means.
I know what begging
Tell
the
me what
question
begging
is.
the question means.
Yeah, begging the question simply means assuming the conclusion in your premises.
Yeah.
Yeah, And
So how
I
did I assume the
yeah, I
conclusion?
asked you, there. So if the conclusion is
What is my
therefore,
conclusion here? What is my
yeah,
conclusion
I'm
here?
telling you that. So the
Huh.
conclusion is therefore so if I asked you the question, why do you think it's okay to consume animals but not humans? You just said that, well, I don't consume humans. So I'm asking you for a symmetry
No, no,
breaker,
no, no,
which
no, no,
is
no, 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 no,
one
no.
sec. Yeah, so one
You
sec.
didn't
So
ask me that. Listen, quiet
I
down,
specify
quiet
I
down,
specified
quiet
that
down,
I'm going to ask you a
quiet down,
symmetry breaker, right?
Aputa,
Mm-hmm.
quiet down. You asked me,
Mm-hmm.
would you support torture of human beings if it was
Yeah.
happening on a wide scale? I said no because I do not eat them.
Okay. Yeah.
Where is the
Now that's an answer.
where is the begging the question
No,
there?
no. Now that you've clearly answered that, I can proceed to the
I
next
already
line over
answered
here.
that. I answered
Fine.
that in the
Fine. Yeah.
first
So
instance.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
So
don't interrupt me.
that's fine. That's
I
fine. So
answered
what
that
I'm
in the first instance. I answered
Mhm.
that in the second instance. I answered that in the third instance. In all three, you said that I'm begging the question. How
No,
is that
that's not
begging
what
the
I said.
question?
I said it's begging the question because you're saying I don't eat humans. So
No, no,
I'm
no.
trying to
I
get at
never
is
said that. Never
what I'm
said that.
trying
I
what I'm
said
trying to
that
yeah, that's
you
see, we
asked.
can table it, right? We can
I can
I'll ask
remove
you
you from
this.
this chat if that is what you would prefer.
I understand what you're
I can
see.
remove you from this chat if that is what you would prefer. You can either talk like a civilized person without interrupting me,
I mean,
or you can.
yeah, I'm just asking you a simple question, right? So what proposition is true of the animal that if true of the humans, you would say it's okay to kill those humans?
What proposition is true of the animal that what?
Mhm. What proposition is true of the animal that if true of the humans, you would say it's okay to kill that particular human?
If I ate them,
Wait, so the
remember?
proposition that's true of the animal is you eat
If
them?
I needed to eat human beings in order to survive, I would say it is okay to kill them.
Well, that's not that proposition is not true in case of animals. So that's just a category error.
I already gave you my answer, man. I'm done with this conversation. Next time,
Sorry?
next point. The
Oh,
theology point that you wanted to mention.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So the theology point is simple. So, uh, yeah. So when you refer to yourself as an atheist, right? Do you mean that you believe the proposition that it is not the case that God exists?
I lack belief in the claim that God exists
Well,
because there
that's
is no
not,
reason to believe it.
wait. That's not. So what I asked you is, do you believe the proposition that it is not the case that God exists?
I am an agnostic atheist. My position is that I do not know if God exists.
Yeah,
Therefore, I
I
lack
share the
belief
same
in the
position.
therefore I lack belief in the claim that God
Mhm.
exists.
Okay, so but when you say an atheist as used in the literature, I just take the atheist
What
to mean,
literature?
yeah, referring to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, where
Hmm.
atheism is defined
I
as
told you I'm an agnostic atheist.
yeah, yes, but when you're saying agnostic and atheist, right? So those are two. So you're saying that
No, it's a philosophical position.
yeah, I
It's an
understand
actual
that.
philosophical position. That is what
Yeah,
my position is. Address that only.
yeah. So I understand what you're saying. So what I'm trying to say is atheism in the literature, as in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, is
I'm an
defined
agnostic
as
atheist. I'm not an atheist. I'm an agnostic
i-
atheist.
wait, the atheism is defined as believing that the negation of the premise that God exists is what constitutes an atheist. But when you say you're an
I'm an
agnostic
agnostic atheist,
atheist,
Abuta. I'm
yeah,
an
so when
agnostic
you say an
atheist.
agnostic atheist, yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that you're saying that it's not the case that God exists, and you're also saying that you don't know if God exists. So that seems like a contradiction, right?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I lack belief in the claim that God exists. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that
so
God does
that's
not exist.
compatible with what I said. Okay, so
I am
you
not.
aren't asserting that God, it's not the
Listen,
case
listen,
that God
listen,
exists.
listen. You want clarity? I'll say it one more time.
Hmm.
You are claiming. Suppose, are you a theist in this case?
No, I'm agnostic. I don't refer to myself as an agnostic atheist. I just refer to myself as an agnostic.
Okay. So let me clarify. The claim that God exists is made by a theist. The reason I am an atheist is because I do not have enough information to come to any conclusion about that, and therefore I reject that claim. Does
Yeah,
that make
but
sense?
when you say reject, so there are two construals of reject, right? So you could either reject as in say that the proposition is false, or you can reject as in say that that you're not convinced by the proposition.
Yeah,
So
the
which one
second
is it?
one. The second one.
Okay, so you don't take it to be the case that the proposition is false, right?
No,
Okay, fine.
I've
Yeah,
said this I've been saying it for the last 5 minutes, man.
yeah, but it's not as clear as you said it right now.
Yeah, that's
So
because you have been talking about a Stanford dictionary definition that I don't even subscribe to.
I mean, is the one that
What? Your audio disappeared, man. Aputa? I don't know what happened to him. Anyway, I'll move him from the screen and move to the next person. Aputa, if you come back, I'll take you back. Malice Mischievous, go on.
गुड इवनिंग विमो, कैसे हैं आप?
ठीक हो, बताओ क्या चल रहा है?
मेरा तो सही चल रहा है। मेरे पास 3 क्वेश्चंस थे। तो पहला क्वेश्चन मेरा है कि जैसे कुछ यूट्यूबर्स ऐसे हैं जो बुद्धिज्म को प्रमोट करते हैं और ऐसा क्लेम करते हैं कि ब्राह्मणिज्म जो है वो बुद्धिज्म से ही निकला है, तो इसमें आपका क्या व्यू है?
I'm not an expert on these areas, but I do think they have some foundation for saying so. क्योंकि बहुत सारा एविडेंस है जो कहता है कि शायद भारत का सबसे पुराना धर्म बुद्धिज्म ही था।
अच्छा, जैसे मतलब जो ब्राह्मणिकल ऑर्डर के हैं और जो बुद्धिस्ट ऑर्डर के हैं, दोनों क्लेम करते हैं कि आईवीसी में हम लोग के मतलब प्रमाण मिले हैं। कोई उसे स्तूपा कहते हैं, कोई उसे शिवलिंग कहते हैं, या फिर जो बुद्धिज्म का जो चक्र होता है वो चक्र कहते हैं। तो इस पे क्या आपका थॉट है?
I
मतलब
don't
हम
know.
लोग उसको वैसा मान सकते हैं?
I think if you want an educated opinion about this, go to someone who's an expert in this area, right?
ओके।
जो लोग ये कह रहे
नहीं
हैं
मतलब
वो लोग
जैसे
कौन है? Are they topical experts?
अब वो क्लेम तो करते हैं कि उन्हें हिस्ट्री पता है यूट्यूब पे, अब मुझे एग्जैक्टली पता नहीं।
हाँ, तो बुक्स पढ़ो ना। If you listen to a
तो बुक्स में
YouTuber,
ऐसे एग्जैक्टली कोई क्लेम नहीं है कि वो एग्जैक्टली स्तूपा ही है, एग्जैक्टली शिवलिंग ही है। अलग-अलग
तो फिर किसी
हिस्टोरियंस,
हिस्टोरियन से
आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट अलग-अलग
तो
बताते
फिर किसी हिस्टोरियन से बात करो, that might help. मैं तो हिस्टोरियन नहीं हूँ।
हैं। ओके, ओके।
मुझे भी उतना ही पता है
अच्छा
जितना
तो
कि हिस्टोरियंस कहते हैं, राइट?
हाँ। अच्छा, एक और मेरा क्वेश्चन है, जैसे लास्ट कॉलर ने पूछा था एथिस्ट और एग्नोस्टिक के बीच में। मैं बिलीव करता हूँ खुद को एथिस्ट कि अभी भी गॉड प्रूफ नहीं हो सकते हैं। मैं इस धरती पे रहूं या ना रहूं, फिर भी गॉड नहीं आने वाले हैं कभी। तो ये मेरा सही स्टैंड पॉइंट है या फिर मैं भी एक बिलीवर टाइप हो गया हूँ ये सोचकर?
देखो, तुम एक क्लेम कर रहे हो। तुम कह रहे हो कि भगवान नहीं है, राइट?
हाँ,
है ना? वही कह रहे हो ना?
हाँ, हाँ, बिल्कुल, यस,
तो
भगवान नहीं है।
तुम कैसे जान सकते हो कि भगवान नहीं है? तुम्हारे पास सारा ज्ञान ब्रह्मांड का।
नहीं, मेरे पास सारा ब्रह्मांड का ज्ञान नहीं है, लेकिन जो साइंटिफिक ऐसे रिसर्च भी हुए हैं ना, वो इस तरफ नहीं हुए हैं गॉड को प्रूव करने के लिए। वो
I
हमेशा
agree.
जो
I agree.
रिसर्च हुए हैं वो अलग फील्ड में हुए हैं, मतलब साइंस के तरफ समझाने के लिए। तो इस हिसाब से मैं कहता हूँ कि वो कभी होने वाला भी नहीं है, वो ना कभी बस रिसर्च होगा, मतलब अनबायस्ड रिसर्च कभी होने वाला है इस चीज पे, ना वो
नहीं,
अनबायस्ड
क्या
रिसर्च भी
होने
हुआ
वाला है
तभी
तुम
तो
नहीं
प्रूफ
कह
किया।
सकते ना। क्या होने
हाँ,
वाला है
क्या
ये तुम
होने
कैसे
वाला
कह
नहीं
सकते
कहते।
हो? हाँ।
नहीं मतलब जितने भी जैसे रिसर्च हुए भी है
अब
जो हम
तक
लोग
जो
कह
हुआ है,
सकते हैं
अगर
तो
अगर तुम ये कहना चाहते हो कि अब तक जो हुआ है उस बेसिस पे हम ये कह सकते हैं कि भगवान का कोई भी डेफिनेशन जो कि हमें प्रोवाइड किया गया है वो एक्यूरेट नहीं है, देन आई एम विथ
हाँ,
यू। पर हम भविष्य में क्या होगा नहीं कह सकते। हम ऐसी जगहों पे क्या होगा जिसके बारे में हमारा एक्सेस नहीं है उसके बारे में नहीं कह सकते। सो इट मेक्स मोर सेंस टू सिंपली से आई डोंट नो एंड देयरफॉर आई डोंट बिलीव। आई एम बिकॉज़ इन
ओके,
दैट केस मैं कोई क्लेम नहीं कर रहा। मैं क्लेम नहीं कर रहा कि भगवान नहीं है, मैं क्लेम नहीं कर रहा कि भगवान है, मैं ये क्लेम नहीं कर रहा कि भगवान इम्पॉसिबल है या पॉसिबल है। मैं कह रहा हूँ कि मेरे को नहीं मालूम है। जब पता चलेगा तो पता चलेगा और तब तक मानने का कोई रीज़न नहीं है।
ठीक है।
एनीवे यहाँ
और एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन है।
मेरे ऑडियो का एक बहुत भारी भरकम वो से एको आ रहा है तुम्हारी तरफ से।
वो एक बार मैं रिकनेक्ट कर अभी ठीक है?
हाँ।
मेरा लास्ट क्वेश्चन है कि आपको अगर कोई एक सुपर हीरो कैरेक्टर लिखना है और उसे एक एलिमेंटल मैनिपुलेशन पावर देना है, तो आप कौन सा एलिमेंट सिलेक्ट करेंगे और क्यों करेंगे?
अरे तुम्हारे पास इतने सारे एलिमेंट है, तुम एलिमेंट क्यों सेलेक्ट करोगे? तो सारे के सारे दे दो।
नहीं, आपको सिर्फ एक देना है।
एक देना है। आई थिंक आई विल चूज़ वाटर।
बाय।
I like water. Have you seen me? I drink so much water.
यस। चलिए
और
एक
उसका
एक
एक और
फाइनल
कारण ये भी है
क्वेश्चन।
कि तत्व में मुझे सेकंड होकागे बहुत पसंद था। वो जो एक उँगली उठा
अच्छा
के पूरा समुद्र बना देता था, आई वाज़ माइंड ब्लोन बाय इट इसीलिए भी।
चलिए तब तो बहुत सही। अच्छा एक और क्वेश्चन, जैसे चारवाक्य का एविडेंस हमें सिर्फ हिंदू टेक्स्ट में मिलता है और कुछ-कुछ बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट में मिलता है।
हुँ।
तो एग्ज़ैक्टली चारवाक्य क्या थे, नहीं थे, या एग्ज़ैक्टली चारवाक्य नाम का कोई व्यक्ति एग्ज़िस्ट करता था, नहीं करता था, इसका कोई हमें मतलब ठोस प्रमाण नहीं है। और जो भी
हुँ,
उनके फिलॉसफी का प्रमाण है वो भी हिंदू टेक्स्ट और कुछ बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट से हम लोग।
हुँ।
तो हम लोग एग्ज़ैक्टली कैसे कह सकते हैं कि वो मटेरियलिस्ट ही थे या फिर ऐसा कोई था, चारवाकिनिज़्म यही था? क्योंकि ऐसा कहा जाता है कि उनके टेक्स्ट जो है वो सब डिस्ट्रॉय हो चुके हैं।
हमारे पास उनके सारे टेक्स्ट डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं हुए हैं, हमारे पास उनके व्यूज़ के कुछ रेमनेंट्स हैं, कई सोर्सेज़ हैं। रुको मैं तुमको म्यूट कर रहा हूँ बोलने के लिए। हमारे पास उनके व्यूज़ के कुछ सोर्सेज़ हैं जो कि कई अलग-अलग मतलब डिस्पैरेट सोर्स से आए हैं, जिनको जोड़ के हमने उनका व्यू पॉइंट रिक्रिएट किया है। और अगर तुम इसके बारे में जानना चाहो तो तुम इंट्रोडक्शन टू इंडियन फिलॉसफी नाम की एक किताब पढ़ सकते हो। एक और किताब है जिसका नाम है सिंपली लोकायत, वो पढ़ सकते हो और एक किताब है चारवाक, उसको पढ़ सकते हो। अ, एक जगह पे सारे व्यूज़ नहीं मिलेंगे बट इफ यू रीड ऑल दीज़ मल्टीपल सोर्सेज़ यू कैन गेट सम आइडिया ऑफ देयर व्यूज़। हमारे पास चारवाक के बारे में ऐसे कुछ व्यूज़ हैं जो कि हमको ब्राह्मणों ने बताए हैं, जो कि बहुत ही ज़्यादा मतलब एक्यूरेट नहीं कह सकते उनको क्योंकि दे आर बायस्ड अगेंस्ट मटीरियलिज़्म। सो अ, दैट वुड बी माय आंसर टू दैट। होल्ड ऑन तुमको अनम्यूट करता हूँ।
ओके, थैंक यू विमो, इतने ही क्वेश्चंस थे।
चलो, थैंक यू मैलिस। That echo is weird, man. It makes me sound like what? Hagrid. Anyway, Milan, thank you for the 100 rupee super chat. He says, "Hi Vimo, keep going, bro. Viewers kindly support Vimo to spread rationality and scientific temper. Much appreciated, Milan. Thank you so much." मिलिन देन सेज माइलिस भाई जो विमो बात करे तब अपना माइक म्यूट कर लो। हाँ, वैसे ही कुछ हो रहा था। आई थिंक उसका माइक म्यूट था। किसी अजीब तरह का कुछ हो रहा था ये। हैग्रिड की अरे अपूता इज़ बैक। हाय।
Hey, I had a power cut on my end. Sorry for that.
ओके, ओके।
Yeah. So yeah, we were just talking about like the definitions of atheism, agnosticism, and
हुँ,
all that, right? So
या
yeah, so I've just linked a source which is considered to be like an authoritative source in the domain
वेयर
of
हैव यू
philosophy.
लिंक्ड इट?
It's in the private chat.
इट्स इन द प्राइवेट चैट।
Yeah. So
Plato, Stanford philosophy, and more specifically, philosophy of religion. The term atheism is standardly used to refer to the proposition that God does not exist, or more broadly, to the proposition that there are no gods. Okay, what about it?
yeah, yeah, and there are reasons to. So if you're claiming that you are an agnostic atheist,
Hmm.
there are reasons why in the domain of philosophy, when people use the term atheist,
Hmm.
we should be using atheism as the proposition that God does not exist, and not
No,
as the
Laputa,
yeah,
you're
not
talking to
as the
me. You're talking to me. You're not talking to Stanford University. If you're talking to
well,
me,
this is
talk about what I think. Na?
yeah. So what I'm saying is just making a normative statement, right? So there are reasons why preferring a certain definition would lead to certain problems downstream, right? So that case is made in
What
that article.
problems will it lead to? If I say I'm an
Yeah,
agnostic
that
atheist,
yeah,
if I say
that
listen,
case.
this is a
Hmm.
recurring problem with you. You can't shut the fuck up at the right time.
Yeah, I
Listen,
understand your question. That's
listen.
why I'm answering
Yeah,
beforehand.
you can still stay quiet and let me finish my sentence, right?
Hmm.
I'm saying if I say I'm an agnostic atheist and you want to have a conversation with me, there is no
Hmm.
need to go to Stanford. You can simply address what I think.
Wait, what do you mean
Go
by
on.
there's no need to go to Stanford?
If you are going to subscribe to a definition of atheism that I do not subscribe to, then you're not
Yeah,
having a conversation with me about my views, right?
so what I'm trying to do is trying to raise a critique of using a particular definition to describe your views.
Irrelevant. This definition is my definition. You're talking to
I mean,
me.
what do you
Talk
mean
to
it
it.
was irrelevant? I'm just saying that if you're using a particular definition, it's
Hmm.
going to yeah. So there are like problems with using a particular definition a certain way,
No, there is no
and that
problem.
case.
If the goal is to talk to me,
Mhm.
use the definition that I said I believe in. Simple. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, you're not tracking. So what I'm saying is, if you're using a
No, the
particular
problem is that
definition,
I'm not fitting your script.
no, the problem is that if you're using a term, right,
Hmm.
and you mean something else by the term,
No, I
there
don't. I
are
told you very clearly what I mean by it.
Yeah. So
Agnostic
when
atheism is a valid philosophical position. I
well, I didn't
subscribe to
say
it.
it's not
If you
valid.
want to talk about it, talk about it.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that there is a problem with using certain terms in different ways, and that case
I'm
is
not
being
using
made
it
in that
different
article.
ways. I am that. See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
The reason
Like,
you
dude,
might have
I
a
don't know.
problem with,
Mhm.
listen, the reason you might have a problem with me using agnostic atheism as my position is because every argument that you have prepared deals with something else, which is this other definition of atheism, which is this, an actual stating, an actual claim about the non-existence of God. You are prepared for that conversation. You're not prepared for this conversation, and therefore you are desperately trying to get
No,
me to say the
I'm
thing
not
that you
trying
need
to
me to
make an
say,
argument
so
anyway.
that your script continues to work.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not even trying to make an argument yet. I'm just trying to get clarity on the entire thing before even making that argument.
It's very clear. I am an agnostic atheist. Do you need a
Yeah.
definition
So,
again?
uh, yeah. So the reason I'm trying to mention is because I want to ask you about global atheism versus local atheism. So if you take the proper if yeah, if you're using the definition in a different term, so what I'm trying to say is if you're using atheism as a proposition, so assuming that you agree and you use the term atheism to mean that it's a proposition that negates the proposition that God exists, then I'm just going to ask you whether you are a local atheist or whether you're a global atheist, or are you agnostic about all gods?
I'm agnostic about all gods.
Okay, so do you think, for instance, the Christian God, right?
Hmm.
Do you think there is a contradiction entailed by the existence of the Christian God?
Define God.
What do you mean, like the
You are
as
assuming I know what you mean by Christian God. I've
yeah,
talked to Christians and everyone has a different definition. So give me your definition of the Christian
yeah.
God.
So I mean, I don't know what the definition is going to be because I'm not a Christian. So is it going to be
So
what they
if
generally
there is a
mean?
thing that you don't have a definition for and I don't have a definition for because I'm not, it's not my belief, what are we talking about really?
Yeah, we're just talking about some being that is mentioned with some propositions and traits attributed to that being, like omnipresence, omnibenevolence, not omnipresence,
So give me a
omnibenevolence.
definition. Give me a definition of God and we can talk about it.
Yeah, let's just say that this particular being has the following three properties, which is omnibenevolence, omnipotence, and omniscience. Do you think that entails a contradiction?
Is there any evidence of such a being existing?
Well, that's tangential to the question.
No, it's very essential to the question because I'm only interested in the truth of the matter, not in logical models, because you can create logical models to support almost anything. It doesn't matter if the thing cannot be demonstrated to be true.
Wait, so my question was whether there was a contradiction entailed. So is that a yes or is that a no?
The answer is I don't even give a flying fuck if there's a contradiction or not. The answer is that is
Well,
this demonstrable?
yeah. So the reason, well, I think you should give a fuck about it because if there is a contradiction entailed, then that being is logically impossible. So you don't have to
I
have
don't
any
give a
evidence.
flying fuck. Can this be demonstrated?
Yeah, this is a demonstration. So if you can
No,
demonstrate
no,
to
no. It's a
that the
demonstration of a
being,
logical model.
yeah, if the being
If
is
I say the
logically
universe was
impossible,
created by a if I say the universe was created by a winged pink hippopotamus and that
hmm
being has these many qualities and I say there is no logical contradiction in my model, it is no more acceptable than your God definition. It doesn't matter.
wait, that's. I mean, I don't see how that follows. But what I'm trying to
It
say is,
follows because what you have given me is an abstraction and I'm not interested in it. I'm asking if
yeah.
there is
So
any
wait,
demonstrable point about this.
yeah. So the demonstration is that if such a being is logically impossible, then that entails that the being does not exist because, yeah, unless you're a dialetheist.
Unless you're
A dialetheist, a person who believes in true contradictions.
I already made my position clear on this. You can have logical models that are logically consistent, and those things may still be impossible, may still be not there, not really existing. Right? Is
Wait,
it
but
are you saying that just
mhm,
because a model is logically consistent, the thing it is
no,
describing is real?
no. What I'm
Bus,
saying is the
that's all.
opposite.
That's all I need.
I'm saying if the model is logically inconsistent, meaning that it entails a logical contradiction, then that particular being does not exist.
I don't have a huge disagreement with that, but again, I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in what you can demonstrate.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say, right? You should be interested in it, because
No,
if you
no,
can
no, no,
show
no, no,
that
no,
there
no,
is
no,
a
no, 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 no.
contradiction.
Don't tell me what I should be interested in, not interested in.
Wait,
Give me a
yeah, you
demonstration.
aren't even. I mean, you're not letting me finish, right? So what I'm trying to say is,
Okay,
if
ठीक है. Sorry, finish.
yeah, if there is a logical contradiction that is entailed by affirming that there is a particular being that is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnibenevolent, and you also affirm the existence of evil, which is I'm running the classical problem of evil. So what I'm trying to say is,
अपुटा,
if you have
अपुटा,
affirmed those
we
four
are talking
propositions,
completely in. हम लोग हवा में बातें कर रहे हैं.
yeah, if you're
हवा
if
में
you're
बातें कर रहे हैं.
affirming
Completely
those
हवा
four
में बातें कर रहे हैं.
propositions, then that entails a contradiction. That's what
You
I'm trying
have
to say.
you have memorized a lot of things and you're very eager to spout them on the live stream because that's what your script says.
I'm not
I am
interested in the
telling
meta.
you that unless you can demonstrate any of this crap, I am not interested.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by demonstration if not like a logical contradiction in this particular case?
I told you, a logically consistent model is nothing
I'm not talking
because
about a
I can create
consistent
a
model,
logically.
so that's just tangential.
No, it's not tangential. You're talking about a logical model and you're asking me to say that this is inconsistent, right? Which leads me to conclude that there is a logical model out there that is consistent according to you. Am I right?
No.
You don't think there is any logically consistent model for God?
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say specifically about this particular model.
See, again, you have a script to which you are trying desperately to stick.
I'm
And
not
I
interested
have
in the meta.
what?
I'm not interested in a conversation about the conversation.
Yeah, and I am not interested in the conversation at all unless you can demonstrate something.
Yeah, so the demonstration is that if you affirm four propositions, which is existence of evil, and
Can
the
you
being,
define, like, you already gave me a definition of God, right? So describe evil.
yeah, so I just take evil to mean things that I don't prefer as a subjectivist.
So मुझे साग अच्छा नहीं लगता. Is साग evil?
No, that's not what I'm. By
So
prefer, I mean certain moral propositions.
okay. So give me an example of a moral proposition that you think is absolutely evil.
Yeah, I just take it to mean that someone who pays for an Holocaust is absolutely evil.
Someone who?
Someone who pays for the Holocaust of a billion beings is absolutely evil in my view.
Okay. What about okay, you brought it back to veganism, which you are not going to talk about. Which we are not going to talk about. But why would you call that evil? What is, like, how do you describe evil? What is the definition of evil?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just don't
You gave me an
prefer.
example of evil. What is
Yeah.
evil?
Yeah, I told you that already, right? So there is a moral proposition, and that's what I don't have a preference for
What
it.
is
So,
evil?
yeah, anything that I have a preference against.
So if someone really liked doing something,
With regards to moral preference,
yeah,
moral
sure,
propositions,
sure.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Would that not be evil for them? Is this subjective?
I mean, I don't know what it means for it to be evil for them.
So you're saying that a certain thing that you consider immoral is evil only for you, or is it evil absolutely?
What does it mean for something to be evil absolutely?
Dude, you're the one who started the conversation. I'm
But
asking you
you're
a question
asking me a
about your
question, right?
definition.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
asking
I
you
think
what does it
we're running into
mean?
the same problem. Anything that does not fit inside your script is beyond your understanding.
Yeah, again,
But
this is
thank you,
meta.
Aputa. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chalo, bye bye. That was hold on. Yeah, this is a good question. Taranga says, I don't understand what they're disagreeing on. Is Aputa also saying he's an atheist, but disagreeing with Vimoh's definition of his own atheism? No, I think this was a Christian. I think this was a Christian who was lying about being a Christian. But that's beside the point. I don't want to accuse people of doing things that they did not do. But I think this was a Christian. Anyway, Sai, go on.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, like water is the best element out of all
What is the
for vending. Like,
Thank you for agreeing with me.
in the
This will be the
yeah,
plank on which I fight elections.
definitely you should. So the coming to the question, like the recent like the painting incident, right? The climate activists who throw
Hmm.
soup on like paint. So, what
Hmm.
is your opinion on this? Because there has been a large debate around the optics around the situation, and also the
Hmm.
like because we
I think
can't
they got
protest
what they
doesn't come out
wanted,
of
right?
only one.
They
Yeah,
wanted people to know about this and talk about this, and
yeah,
they succeeded.
yeah. That is what that was also my point. But most of the people I have been talking to, like they have been talking about, array, it's not good optics. It's hurting the movement. It's that has been the like in the forefront. The climate issue has gone sideways. Like this is the thing they are talking about. Most like the way of activism they are doing is wrong. That is the thing they're concerned with, not the original point.
I
Like they are
don't know if it is
forgetting that
wrong. I don't know if it is
the
wrong
optics thing.
because uh, they have actually not damaged any artwork. So I think what they're actually doing is that they're creating
Yeah,
art. They're using existing works of art as the foundation of it. And what they're doing is performance art of a sort. They're performing in public. They're
yeah,
drawing people's attention to something by doing something outrageous, apparently. And they're using art to say that the world has to be more than art. And I think that is artistic in its own way.
definitely, definitely. Because I have
Yeah.
seen some people talking about this, and more have been only about the optics and only about the optics, but disregarding the message they have been trying to convey.
Hmm.
They, and like this is the problem in the like I mean, coming to my second point, like there is a problem in the like whole left like side of the politics. Like left always eats itself. Like people disagree on a lot of things. Like coming to this, like left, there are even many like what do you say, like labels concerned with left, like left, liberal, progressive, and this it gets confusing for people when we are talking about those labels, because identity politics though is like helpful, and it sometimes it becomes a problem also.
Yeah.
Left has a problem in that. I mean, what is your
I do
opinion on
agree
that?
that the left is divided
Yeah,
on a lot of things, but I think the overall bent of the left tends to be towards an equal society, right? Like nobody on the left is saying those people should be
yeah,
persecuted. They're just calling people out for bad behavior. But on the right, you will actually find denial of oppression. You will find support for oppressors and stuff like that. So I think the left is generally speaking more virtuous than the right. Sai?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Anything
That's it. Like,
else?
it's fun talking to you. I
Okay.
consume your content.
Cool.
And
Thanks, man.
no,
Thank you
nothing,
so much.
nothing. Just fun. Thank you.
Chalo. Bye bye.
Yeah.
That was Sai. There was a super chat from Avinash who says, a devil himself is one who has seen the truth only to hate it. Hmm. I don't know what that was about, but hold on. Hmm. Hold on. So the next caller is Shark. Hi, Shark.
Hello, Vimoh. Hello, good evening.
Hi. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what would you do if someone greets you in a like Hindu, meeting like Jai Shri Krishna or Namaste, or how would you react?
I'll say hi.
Okay, you can say hi in India, but how about you live abroad?
Where?
See, I am going abroad. I have been abroad. I have been greeted Namaste many times, and I don't know how to react to that.
Do you do you live like? Okay, I don't want to ask you personal questions, but how do you usually greet people?
I usually don't actually, but
I
if
go on,
no,
go on.
in foreign setting, I have said namaste back because I don't want
Uh,
to be rude Indian abroad.
uh,
So
uh.
in India, I just don't reply, or I just say, ignore it. But
You
what would
in
you
India,
do?
if people say namaste to you, you don't say anything in response.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. No, I don't think you do it all the time. It's hard to do. It's hard to ignore people and still live a social life. I think if someone is saying namaste, you can say namaste back. It doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah, I
You can
try
say
that with.
hi. You can say hi, hello. You can just wave. You can nod. You can do so many things. Why is this such a big problem?
No, I don't want to sound rude. That's why.
Sound rude by saying what?
By not replying.
I said you can say hi. That's not rude.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, someone says
How
namaste,
would you
you say
get
hi.
foreign
Or you
setting?
can just say live long and prosper like Spock does. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's true.
So you were saying?
In foreign setting,
Again, I already answered that question.
I don't know, man. How would I
Okay.
react?
I suppose namaste का जवाब hi हो सकता है, hello हो सकता है. You can just wave.
Hmm.
I don't think this is such a big question. Did you have anything else?
Nah.
Okay, cool.
Good night,
Bye
guys.
bye. Yep. Right. So there is someone whose devices are not connected. Kevin, your devices are not connected. I want to take you on, but I can't because your devices are not connected. Come back when your devices are connected. Until then, I'll read some chats. And by the way, the queue is empty. If anyone wants to join, you can join now. We are at the 1 hour 10 minute mark, so we still have about 20 minutes to go. Mm. Kavan says, I went to a stationery shop to buy a notebook and some pens, but the lady at the cash register did not accept card for bills less than 10 euros. So I bought a harmonica too. How to play a harmonica? बेचारा हारमोनिका लेके फंस गया है. I guess you can join. I'm sure there are courses on how to play harmonica. YouTube पे सर्च करके ट्राई कर लो. Eventually, you're probably either going to give it up or become a master at, harmonica playing. So who knows? Maybe 10 years, 20 years down the line, you'll be the world's best harmonica player, and you will say it all started when I didn't have change. So many stories are like this, right? Maybe. Laksh says, Namaste is just Sanskrit for we are blessed or may we be blessed. How is this theistic? Because blessing is a religious concept. Why would you want to be blessed? Why would anyone take your blessing seriously? Just say hi. Santosh says, what is the problem with Namaste? This is the problem. You need to know the difference between getting ashamed of your culture and removing the bad from your culture. Right. So, Santosh, I think the reason some people might have a problem with Namaste is that the culture that you're speaking of is not a unitary thing that means the same thing to everyone. If namaste comes from a tradition where people say, I salute the divine in you, as we are likely to say, it might remind someone who is not considered as divine by the people around them. For example, people from a marginalized caste. And they may wish to distance themselves from this behavior because namaste is a very nice cultural thing for you, but maybe it is not like that for them. Maybe it means something else to them. So you should always be empathic towards other people's ways of looking at things, or try to at least. Shirivasha says Vimoh plays harmonica. नया channel बनेगा harmonica के लिए. Okay, let me look at some older comments. Hmm. Kaushal says Aputa is trying to say that if a model is not logically consistent, we don't have to ask if there is empirical evidence. I think if you start with empirical evidence, you can actually, in one go, get rid of a whole lot of crap. If a model is not consistent, you don't you can simply say that this model is not consistent, this model cannot be real, and therefore you don't need empirical evidence. My problem with that, however, is that there may be conditions prevailing somewhere in the multiverse where things that I do not consider logically consistent are consistent and real and working. I talked earlier today about one multiverse theory being that there are different space-time pockets in this universe only, which act like different universes. So you can go to a different part of this universe, and the laws of physics may be different there, owing to conditions unique to that part of space and time, right? So if I say a logically consistent thing is this, but it is not inconsistent in that part of the universe. My point is, we know far too little about the universe to be able to confidently say if something is consistent or not consistent universally. I can make that claim locally, right? But I don't think we have enough knowledge to make such claims universally, especially in the light of what physicists have found out in recent years. So that was my point. If a thing can be demonstrated, demonstrate it. Otherwise, don't waste my time with consistency model. Otangelo came some weeks ago and he did the same thing. I told him the same thing. You can have a logically consistent model for werewolves. That doesn't mean werewolves are real. a thing can be possible and still not exist. इस लड़के का प्रॉब्लम ये था कि he had a script and he wanted me to play according to it. यार किसी ने मुझे यहाँ पे अगेन साइंस जर्नी के बारे में कुछ पूछा है. साइंस जर्नी के साथ प्रॉब्लम है. साइंस जर्नी के चैनल पे जाके उनसे बात करो. आई एम नॉट रियली इंटरेस्टेड. Nishant says, random thought. Which things, according to you, will be considered problematic in near future, similar to how people were okay with transphobia or homophobia in past? I think meat eating. I may not want to talk about veganism, but I think in the near future or distant medium future, we might look back at this period of time and think of people who ate meat as barbarians. Nazneen says, like the definition of namaste I gave, I just see it as recognizing another person's worth, divine or not. भैया ये क्वेश्चन तुम बार बार क्यों कॉपी पेस्ट कर रहे हो? मैंने बोला मुझे इसके ऊपर जवाब नहीं देना. मैं तुमको म्यूट कर रहा हूँ. रुको. टाइम आउट. Please don't copy paste questions multiple times. I'm not, the chances of me answering them do not increase if you do so. Apekshit, who's a member, says David Andrijevic brought back cells to life of a dead pig. Seems death is not binary like we think. Yeah, sure. We know. Who knows? I mean, maybe this is something that will not work universally. Maybe it is something that can work universally. In any case, one of the problems with our conception of life is that people keep saying that life cannot come from non-life. And what happens instead is that there are some people who say that we have viruses and we don't know if they're alive or dead. But it is possible that life started as something like a virus, which is neither alive nor dead, and then it became, then it came to be, then it came to have properties that we now describe as having life. There are a few people in the queue now. Confused App wants to talk about religion and capitalism. Why? Why? Hold on. Hi, Confused App.
Hi, Vimoh.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. I wanted to ask, can we devalue religion in this present hyper-capitalistic world?
We can try. How far we will be successful remains to be seen, I guess.
Okay. But it is quite tough, you think, right?
It's always going to be tough. If you are
Okay.
against any strain of behavior which has remained relevant in human society for thousands of years, it's always going to be tough to convince people otherwise. But the reason religion, it is possible for society to not be capitalist and religion will still exist, because whatever form of life there is, whatever form of society we have at that point, religion will simply attach itself to that. It's an idea level virus that survives by attaching itself to other things.
Okay. So you mean that if the capitalism transforms into some other thing, like we can adopt more socialist model, then religion will attach itself to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has done so in the past. In Roman times, Romans worshipped their gods, and Christianity was a very, very tiny minor religion, and people used to call them non-believers, by the way, which is hilarious. But then what happened was that the people who were preaching the cult of Jesus attached themselves to people in power, and they survived that way. Before they did that, they were surviving simply on the basis of charismatic leadership. Like there's this guy who preaches the word of Jesus and he talks to slaves and tells them that they're human beings, etc. So it spread a lot among slaves, right? So ऐसा completely possible है कि हो सकता है हम लोग capitalism को हटा दे कल, and then the world actually becomes a socialist place. But religion will find a way to remain relevant there also. Maybe it will, maybe if, like, this is a complete thought experiment, but maybe if there is a world where socialists are everywhere, and there are very few people who are fighting for the right to do business, right? Maybe religion will simply attach itself to them and say, There will be socialists will have one religion and capitalists will have another religion, and the capitalist religion will say that we are being persecuted, and that is how it will rise.
Yeah, it is possible.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, man. That was Confused Ape, and now we have Agastya. Hi, Agastya.
Hey, Vimoh.
Hey.
So here's the thing. Before I start asking questions, I got to clear a few things. Remember
Your
our last
audio is
conversation?
your audio is a
Uh,
little.
okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. So last conversation about postmodernism and stuff. Like I said, it was Andrew Sokol who wrote that article, but it wasn't Andrew. His name was Alan. I screwed up.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Sorry.
mentioned that in the comment also. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the other thing is, I heard you saying like meat eaters will be seen as like barbaric practice in the
Hmm.
coming days. I don't think in history food has ever been like stigmatized or seen back as, because for example, look at foie gras, right?
Hmm.
Okay, you force feed ducks to like get
Yeah.
their fatten their liver into it. No one looks back in time and say, okay, look, people those who ate foie gras, they're barbaric or something. Because when it comes to food, people rarely hold that notion. Is what I'm thinking.
No, it
What do you
also
think?
has to do with the the breadth of the disapproval, right? Foie gras is one dish. We have had dishes that we consider bad. Like there are people who think that eating dogs is bad, and these people will happily eat chicken and mutton. They see no problem in it. They will even call themselves animal
Yeah, I
lovers.
mean,
So
that's the
I
thing. I
think
mean, it's
if we reach some
food is
kind
like
of
mostly like
di-
what is allowed and what isn't is mostly like about social upbringing, because like, there are countries where people eat dogs. There are countries where people
yeah,
eat snakes.
yeah.
And so, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, but what I'm saying is, when it comes to food, like I don't think in 100 years, like when people look back, they'll be like, okay, it's barbaric to eat this animal or that animal, animals in general,
Again,
because
I could
we
be wrong.
we
Obviously, I could be wrong. Yeah,
yeah.
maybe it won't happen. I'm saying that I think it will happen, but I'm not
Mm,
saying this as मैं पक्का मुझे पता है कि ये होने वाला ही है. Maybe it won't happen. Who knows? That was not
yeah.
even a
So
thing I'm going to stake my reputation on. यार तूने बोला था कि मीट ईटर्स को सब गालियां देंगे और कोई गालियां नहीं दे रहा है. It's okay. It
nah,
doesn't
man,
really matter
you
that
ain't
much to
about
me.
that. I'm not like that last caller. Don't worry.
No, that's okay. You can be like him also. There was nothing wrong with him. It's just that he was. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, he's a
he,
known
he
vegan
he
heckler,
he
is all.
he came with a script. That is my problem. He was not actually talking like a human being.
I mean,
That's what
I don't know.
the
From
problem with many of these kids is. Go on.
I mean, that guy. I mean, that people say, I mean, he's a known vegan heckler. Not like what Angelo comes into like debating
Hmm.
theists and something.
Hmm.
I heard he's similar when it comes to this vegan thing. That's it.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's the thing. What I'm going to was about to ask you.
Hmm.
What do you think of faith, spirituality, whatever, that doesn't particularly appeal to notion of God? For example, Taoism.
What are the
If you
foundations
read
of
Tao,
Taoism? What are the foundations of Taoism?
it's not necessarily. Look, I mean, it's it's just following of this Chinese philosopher called Lao Tzu in his book Tao Te Ching. I mean,
Huh. So it's a
I mean,
teacher-based
here's
religion,
the thing.
right? Like Buddhism.
No, it's not teacher based. It's not even. I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to religion, there is no particularly like particular definition about it. I mean, we all are against organized dogmatic religion because we can see dogma, right? There's an institution which says you can't do this, you can't do that, and it attached to power structures, and you try to propagate and all that. But
Hmm.
you see, Taoism or Confucianism, they aren't like that. Because here's the thing: that one book, Tao Te Ching. I mean,
By the way, have you heard
there
of
are
Have you heard of atheo-paganism?
I maybe vaguely, I guess. I mean,
So it's
I'm not
apparently
that much.
paganism. It's a religion that only has rituals in order to organize life, and it
Yeah, kind
believes
of like
in nothing
Satanic Temple, right?
supernatural. No, yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Satanic Temple.
Hmm.
No, Satanic Temple, Satanic Temple, I guess. No, Satanic Temple are just trolls.
Not to be
Yeah,
confused
okay,
with the Church of Satan.
yeah.
That's a different thing.
So either way, okay. So here's the thing. In Tao Te Ching, I mean, he vaguely mentions heaven, earth, like all that, the spirituality. He said even the way, the Tao itself, like he says, it's the path. I mean, the universe, the raven is so deep and all that he mentions, but he rarely mentions its characteristics. Like there are no dogmas in it. There are no this thing in it.
Hmm.
What's your opinion on those things?
I think it depends on what the definition of that religion is. I personally think that if there is something you can get from a football club,
Hmm.
and the alternative is a religion that does
I mean,
not have any dogmas in it, it becomes purely a matter of personal choice.
I
if
don't know.
if
You're
if
talking
you're hmm,
you're talking like strictly in a social aspect. What I'm talking about is like the spiritual aspect, the one that individualistic.
then yeah, I'm talking about this. I thought you were talking about the social aspect. If you're
No, no,
talking
no.
about the
I'm talking
spiritual
about
aspect,
the.
I will need to see evidence for any claim that the religion makes.
No,
What is the
it's not
evidence for
like
the spiritual
there
claims?
is no. There's no claim. There's no claim. For example, as
If there is no
there is this.
claim, then it's purely sociological,
No,
right?
here, here's the thing. I mean, for example, like there's this content creator called Mia Mulder. Okay, she made this video about it, in which she describes her experience like this. I mean, she is walking down. I mean, she's having a lot of bad days, and I don't know. She just prays. She doesn't know what
Hmm.
she prays for. She just prays,
Hmm.
and it feels like the universe gave her a hug or something.
Hmm.
That's the thing. I mean, maybe the universe did give the hug. Maybe the universe didn't. Maybe she believes in it. Maybe it's not about like how like a Vicodin, you know, temporary painkiller of sorts. People
Hmm.
just think about it for a moment and then forget about it.
Hmm.
What do you think of that thing? I mean, that kind of
I
need.
think if
Because
do you, let me ask you this: if someone is going through trouble in life and
yeah,
they go to a therapist
yeah.
instead of praying or believing in a religion, do you think that is a better idea?
I mean, it's no
If
like
therapy
look. I
was
mean, therapy
affordable,
is
obviously. If therapy was
no
affordable.
like no. I mean, I definitely say therapy, but it's not even about that. Like for example, it's not even like okay, they're praying in substitute of therapy or something. Like they're having a bad day or something. Oh, I mean, oh man, come on, or something. They prayed for something, anything, literally. There is no particular thing in it. That's the thing
Hmm.
I'm talking about.
If you're
But they
talking
just felt
about
the
the fact
connection.
that we all have, if you're talking about the fact that we all have internal lives and we all
Yeah,
have imaginary constructs using which
yeah,
we try to find comfort in life, yeah, sure, I guess we do. But that's
mm,
better. Like I'm, I'm not saying that people's internal life does not exist. I'm just saying that I don't see a difference between a religion and the MCU fandom, because people can
yeah,
find meaning there also. People can base their lives around a fictional character and still find mental peace. People
yeah,
can people actually do get married according to the customs of the Lord of the Rings universe or the
yeah,
Game of Thrones universe, right? I don't see a
yeah,
difference. Exercising imagination is a fundamental human thing. Everyone does it. My friend,
yeah,
I lost a friend a year ago. I still talk to him sometimes. I know he's not there, but it makes me feel good. It's exercise of
yeah, yeah,
imagination, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm
But
not saying,
that's the thing. I
listen,
mean,
it's not as if people are going to stop doing these things if I say don't do it, right? People
yeah,
will do what they do. I'm simply concerned with the claims about reality that a religion makes and about the
mm,
evidence for it. I'm even okay with sociological religion. Like, you are only religious because you get to gather in a place and meet people and you feel happy. You can go to a you can go to Comic Con and do the same. You can have a book club and do the same. You can have a football club and do the same.
yeah.
A religion without
But,
any
but
supernatural claims is purely sociological, and that's okay.
yeah, I mean that's the thing I'm saying. Because here's the thing. The Tao Te Ching we were talking about. Some people use the book as like the for their own personal improvement and all that. Some people
Hmm.
use it for their own spiritual gain. Some
Hmm.
people created monastic traditions around it. Some people have, like, inspired by that book, they have created political philosophies. I mean,
Got it.
and all that.
Got
Yeah,
it.
that's the thing. It's just a book which has some meanings for some people, other meanings for other people.
Hmm.
Okay, so what do you like? Do you consider? Do you even consider that as a, I don't know,
Consider that as a what?
religion? A religion? Would you even consider that as a religion in the first place?
See, Agastya, my main point is it's irrelevant. How does it matter
Mm-hmm,
what we call it, right?
mm-hmm.
My only concern is this: there is a belief system which is either purely sociological or it makes certain claims about reality. If it makes certain claims about reality, I want to see evidence for it. If it does not make any sense for, if it does not make any claims about reality and is
Yeah.
purely sociological, then I see it as no different from another activity like a football club. That's it.
Here's the thing, though. Maybe I guess you should give it a read. Like, I mean, either Tao Te Ching or any Confucianism or any one of these books. Because here's the thing: in Chinese philosophy, you rarely see that kind of like claims made. At least for
Again, can you
curiosity,
tell
I think
me?
we're
Can you
talking
tell
in
me?
circles here.
Can you tell me what the fundamental teachings of Taoism are?
That's the thing. I mean, he goes from, like, there are, like, I don't know, 84 books, I guess. And he goes on, like, he starts with, like, Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao.
What?
Yeah, I don't
What?
know.
What? Can you speak a little clearer, Agastya? I can't understand what you're saying.
Okay, the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. The name is not the eternal name, and all that. Like, it's really, like,
I
vague.
don't know what you
It's
mean by that. Can you put it in
yeah.
simple language? What are the fundamental tenets of Taoism?
There is no fundamental tenets. There are, like, 84 books.
Can
You
you tell me
read by, like,
anything about the religion apart from the fact that it is a religion?
it's not a religion in your traditional sense. Like, for example, in Christianity, you have certain dogmas, right? Taoism doesn't even have a dogma.
Then
It's just,
see, Agastya, it's
yeah,
a very difficult thing to have a conversation about something if there is no definition of it.
I'm not. I'm saying these. I don't know, these Chinese this Zen Buddhism, this Taoism. They don't fit your traditional definition of religion. Is what I'm saying. But people still
Then
derive
what do they
inspiration from it.
correspond to? What do they correspond to? You have been telling me it's not this, it's not that, it's not that, but what is actually it? How do I, if you said, okay, so here's Taoism, you have to give me something, right? What is it?
A spiritual book. That's all I can say.
That tells me
It's not.
absolutely nothing.
I mean, that's the thing, because here's the thing: we have this notion that, like, we know what a religion is, but if you look at the history of religion, it's not that clear. It's not cut and dry. I mean, when we
Again,
talk about
Agastya,
religion, we talk about,
you're not telling me anything about Taoism. Anything. You're telling me there's a thing that is something like that is something,
no. I just
but
quoted you, like, the first lines of Taoism. Like, he goes on, like,
I told
okay,
you
this
that
is,
means nothing. Usme, but like it's a very vague statement
yeah,
that seems
exactly what
like
I'm
it.
talking about. I mean, that's spirituality in
Okay,
its crux, right? I mean, vague stuff
and
which is like a
spirituality is
painkiller.
vague. Spirituality is
Yeah, that's the
vague,
thing.
right? Yeah. So how do I
Yeah.
come to any conclusion about it?
I mean, the question is, why do you need to?
Because I need to understand it in order to have an opinion on it, right?
No, like,
Yeah. Do I not need to understand what you're saying in order to talk about the thing that you're talking about?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, but the whole idea of the spiritual people, they're more interested about, like, what it gives them in, I don't know, like, how it makes them feel than, like, what can I think of this thing, right?
So how something makes you feel, how am I supposed to understand it? If you don't tell me how what it makes you feel like.
Yeah.
Do you understand my problem?
Hello?
Do you understand my problem?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. But anyway, this was a good conversation, Agastya. Maybe the next time you call, you'll be able to give me some more definition so I can, actually think about this.
no, like, I was talking about in the sense, like, I mean, when we look into, like, history of religion, you rarely see that I mean, you can say what's not a religion, then you can say like what is a religion. For example, when we just look at organized religion, dogma, and we say this is the religion. But
Hmm.
there are many cultures and cultures that have their own belief system, which can't be
I know
considered
that.
as
I know
religion.
plenty of
Yeah,
religions exist all over the world and they all have different definitions. You are talking about one specific religion and I don't know how you are defining it. If you want, I can read up about Taoism a little bit. Maybe that will
yeah,
help if you have a conversation next time. Is that okay?
yeah, yeah. That would be a
Cool. I'll do
good
that
idea,
then.
because here's the thing, because I've
I'll
read.
do that then. Agastya, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
done. I'm done. I don't have time.
fine,
Chalo. Bye bye.
fine. Yeah, bye.
Good night. Right. So that was Agastya. See, my problem with, like, I'm not demeaning anything he said. My problem is this: if you're holding an apple, and I have never seen an apple, I would like to see the apple, or at least I want to see you describe the apple. So what I'm holding is round, red, and if you bite into it, it tastes sweet. If you don't tell me, and all you tell me is it's a thing and it makes me feel good, then I don't know what I'm going to talk about, because that those two criteria can be applied to any number of things out there. He was talking about a religion, and the things that he said about that religion were pretty much the same thing that everyone says about their religion. So I would have needed something to distinguish it from everything else, right? That's why I was harping on definition. It was in no way meant to be disrespectful. Jay Prakash Naik, thank you for the 100 rupees super chat, much appreciated. Anudeep Varada, thank you for CHF2. I don't know what CHF is, but thank you. uh, let's read a few comments. Shiriyasha says, looks like Agastya wants to put his faith into Taoism and wants validation from Vimoh. You don't need my validation. Guys, stop looking for validation from me. If you want to put your faith in something, go ahead and put it. If it makes you happy, go ahead and do it, as long as you're not hurting anyone. If you want to talk about it, come to me and talk about it. I'll be happy to talk about it. You don't need validation from me. I'm not some guru. I'm not someone who knows all the answers. I'm here to talk to people. I want to understand where you're coming from, and that's all. Hmm. अभिषेक ऐसे नहीं बोलते. Shir says, but as Vimo said, a football club or MCU fan club or Taoism is no different. Hey. Apekshit says the Taoists worship the 9 emperor gods in the 9 emperor gods festival, which is 9 days long. Oh, wow. So they do have gods. Maybe they just think of them as symbolic. I don't know. I'll read more. Somnath Karmakar says, hi Vimo, really appreciate the work you're doing. India and the whole world in general could really use some scientific temperament. Thanks, Somnath. Much appreciated. Santosh says, Vimo, have you changed your mind about anything after talking to a caller? So I've been doing this live stream for more than this channel is old. I used to do live streams on Instagram. And on Instagram, I did actually change. Since the YouTube channel has started, I don't think something major has happened. But on Instagram, I did change my mind about several things. One of them was about the fact that irrationality is not the main enemy. The main enemy can only be defeated through political means. And if there are two people in front of me, one of them is an asshole atheist and one of them is a decent religious person, I know which side I'm going with, and that's a decent religious person. I am more interested in kindness than rational people. I think rationality is overrated and overblown in atheist circles, and it does not mean much if the person is not a good person and if their politics are based on oppression of other people. Also, there was another thing. Yeah, mental health. I think one thing that Taranga and people like Taranga have managed to convince me of is that mental health concerns, especially given the shitty conditions we find ourselves in presently politically, mental health concerns must take precedence over rationality concerns. If someone is in terrible pain and is going through trauma, and their religion is the only thing that is bringing them peace, I will not tell them to stop believing God because lol, I hear the meme about how God does not exist. So that is something that has changed in me, and I feel in the last, I think, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. Agastya says, I'm asking Vimo what he was asking me. Where would he put Taoism? Agastya, my point is that unless I know what Taoism is, I don't know where to put it. I have folders ready, right? but I need to see the thing that you're giving me in order to decide which folder to put it in. That is what I was saying. Harish says, I think spirituality is just celebrated version of psychology. I think psychology, yeah, I don't know. I can't say much about it because I have heard from people, including practitioners and, topical experts, that philosophy does suffer from some serious academic biases. And I think spirituality definitely does. It suffers from casteist biases. So I don't know, like the two are not pure, but the impurities that they have may not be the same impurities. That's how I would put it. Mm, Music from the place says, just like how many Buddhists worship the Buddha like God, even though there was not anything about God said by Buddha. Yeah. Milan, thank you for the 40 rupees super chat. Vimoh, वो bottle की पानी की memory कितना GB? I think you left this comment before also, right? Okay. Yeah, पता नहीं. I think what Milan is talking about is a video by Pranav on his channel about water memory and about how Mr. Imoto from Japan and Mr. Sadhguru from India have both swindled people on the have both spread misinformation about how water can remember stuff. So that's a great video. If you want to, you can go to Science is Dope and watch it. It's today's upload, I think. Today's or yesterday's upload. And in that video, he talks about a technique that Emoto was trying to perfect, where digital water memory could be transferred through email. So he will digitize a water's memory, send it as an email attachment to someone, and then the patient will put a glass of water next to their computer, and they will open that attachment, and their water will turn into medicine, and then they'll drink it and they'll get cured. It was super weird. Jayaprakash says, can you please name a few intelligent persons in India at present? What? I don't know how to process that. There are many, many intelligent people, intelligent and good. Okay. Again, I don't know how to answer that question. Like off the top of my head, nothing comes. I don't know what you mean. Santosh says, after that answer, I do feel you are genuinely rational, not in the fashion sense of it. We'll hang out more here. Thank you, Santosh. Right, we have one more caller here on screen. It is Wesley Curry the second. Hi, Wesley.
Hi, how do you do?
Good. What's up?
Well, I've noticed one thing about atheists. When confronted with the truth, they will cut you off and not listen.
That's very sad.
The truth is, Jesus returned and he told you to tell the vision, and I told the vision, and I asked him to give everyone on earth 2 healed teeth in your mouth, and he did.
Okay, how do you know this?
Proof it didn't happen.
In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna took the form of a mighty big man with many arms and many heads and told Arjun that he was the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the universe. Do you believe this to be true?
No, the form
Why?
of Krishna is
Why?
either a lunatic dog or a frog, and only the head.
Actually, there was no dogs and frogs, were they?
The frog is a demon.
What?
A do nothing. It can do nothing.
How do you know this? How do you know this?
The dog is
How
the
do
one
you
put
know
on
this?
those that are
How do you
violent.
know this, Wesley?
I saw it
Where?
on everybody on earth.
Have you met everybody on earth?
I'm the one that asked Jesus to take it off of you.
Chalo,
I'm
bye
the
bye.
one
This
that's
was
going to
fun.
stand.
This was fun. कहाँ से चले आते हुए? August says, okay, this guy is not. He was actually there a couple of days ago. In the chat, he was just copy pasting verses from the Bible. And I said, wait, I will take you on screen, we'll talk. But he couldn't stop. So this is clearly someone who's having a lot of issues. Ready for Rishi. This guy is serious. Please do continue this roasting rocks. No. I'm not here to do roasts. Like, it's fun. I know it's fun. It's fun to watch. But I'm not here to do roasts. Mm. Shri Harsha Chilapalli says, Jay, I will nominate Vimoh and Pranav to that list. What list? Oh, the list of intelligent and good people. Listen, I'm not good. I'm not even intelligent. I don't belong on that list. In fact, don't make lists. Wesley said, like I said, when confronted with truth, you refuse to listen. Wesley, before you confront people with truth, I have to be convinced that you know the truth. You gave me no reason to think that you have the truth, right? I'm happy to listen to the truth. But if I think that you are pulling stuff out of your ass and claiming that it is the truth, then why would I listen to you? There are people from all the religions who claim to have the truth. What matters is how much you can demonstrate to be true. Making a claim is simply not enough. I can make claims. I was there at the beginning of the universe. I saw the Big Bang happen. I created planets with my own hands. Do you believe me? If I told you all these things, what questions will you ask me? And if I told you that it does not matter, I was there, you should just believe me, will you believe me? I don't think you will. I don't think anyone will. I don't think anyone should. And that is the reason I don't think anyone should take you seriously. You saying that you have the truth matters exactly zero to me. Unless you can show something to be the truth, I guess, yeah, that's all. Wesley, Wesley, clearly not the messenger of dog music from the place. Santosh says, I am the supreme being. Bow down, please. Get me some pizza for dinner as well. If you are the supreme being, create some pizza yourself. Don't ask other people to make pizza for you. Right. This guy needs to be put in timeout. Anyway, we are at the 1 hour 47 minute mark, people. The link is still pinned to the top. If anyone wants to come now. Otherwise, I'll just, I'll do the routine and then I'll check. If there is no one, then we'll stop. This channel is this channel is sponsored by people like you. If you want to, you can support this channel by clicking the join button below and becoming a member. I think we are close to 40 members now, which is very cool. But if you don't want to become a member on YouTube or you can't for some reason, what you can do is you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/Vimoh. There you can join through a monthly or an annual scheme. If you do that, you will be committing to paying a certain amount every month or every year. If you don't want to do that, you can simply visit my blog at vimoh.stck.me and click the support button there to make a contribution of any amount of your choice. If you don't want to do that, you can simply send me money directly at Vimoh@UPI. That's my UPI ID. Very simple, very easy to remember. Choose any amount of your choice. Everything you contribute helps me buy books, pay for software like StreamYard, and pay my bills. I'm a full-time content creator, and my life is basically sponsored by people like you. There is also my main channel, which is youtube.com/Vimoh, where I publish shorts. And if you want to listen to audio episodes of this podcast, you can do so at www.vimoh.in. All the audio episodes are available there, in addition to links to all the apps on which you can listen to the show, which include Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Ghana.com, JioSavan, etc. And yeah, that's it. There is no one else in the queue, but there are a few comments. Let's see. Kavan says, I am the supreme being. Hire me, please. Kavan, if you were the supreme being, you would not need to be hired. Ever thought of that? No, because you only think about yourself. Somnath says, I don't usually mind if people are believers, but what is your opinion when theists say that, if not anything, believing in a supernatural entity gives them some false security? Wait, what? If not anything, believe in a supernatural entity gives them false security. See, that the problem with that is that people can't choose to believe something, right? If you wanted, can you just start believing in something right now? No, you couldn't. So when people say they believe in a supernatural entity, they're actually lying. What they are doing is that they're deluding themselves into thinking that something exists when it does not. It's basically pretending to know something that you do not know. As what's this book? A Manual for Creating Atheists says. Instead of faith and belief, we need to use the phrase pretending to know things that you do not know. Luffy says that guy was just another Otangelo, but funnier. No, Otangelo was not this bad. Otangelo was actually honest about the fact that he cannot be sure. This guy is just, I was there. Kavan says, no, Santosh, I created the universe for me. It's my passion. Yeah, it's his hobby. When he applies for jobs, he says, in the hobbies panel, he says, creating universes. Kshitij says, he comes to every channel and talks about his dream and how he saw Jesus. I have never seen this guy. Harish says, hi Vimoh, what are the best books that you would recommend for atheists? I have a list at amazon.in/shop/Vimoh. If you go there, there are categories. And in one of the categories, there are books for Indian atheists. You can go to amazon.in/shop/Vimoh. Um, Right. So I suppose we are at the end of today's episode. It's 1 hour 50 minutes, and I hope that you all had fun. And we will do the culture, religion, etc. I am talking to some people who I want to get on the podcast as guests. It's been a long time since we had guests, and when we do, we will see. We'll talk to them. Until next time, I hope that you and your families are safe. I hope everyone is safe. They're not your family, and take care of yourself. And I'll see you on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. India time. Chalo. Good night. Bye bye.